this thing. She says Angel Reese will end up being Michael Jordan in the end of her career. All right, we'll find this. Yes, I just typed that up, asked the question. Yes, Jameel Hill has publicly expressed her belief in Angel Reese has the potential to become the Michael Jordan of WNBA in a recent statement Hill placed ahead of Caitlin Clark, suggesting that Reese could be viewed as the league's defining superstar like a Michael Jordan. Is that the one, Rob? If you can.
I'm looking for the clip.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so then.
Looking back at what became one of the most explosive controversies in women's basketball history, a seemingly minor incident during a regular season matchup spiraled into a massive debate about race, privilege, and the future of professional women's sports. The situation began during a contest between the Indiana Fever and their opponents, when an on-court altercation involving Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese caught attention. The sequence of events showed Reese pushing one of Clark's teammates, followed by Clark committing a foul on Reese. Reese then executed what observers compared to LeBron James's signature dramatic falls, dropping to the floor in exaggerated fashion. Commentary immediately emerged suggesting that Clark received preferential treatment due to her race, with accusations of protection and special consideration flooding social media.
I'm looking for the clip.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so then, outside of that, RG3 comes out and says, man, Caitlin Clark is a superstar and she's, bigger than life and all this stuff. Ryan Clark, out of nowhere, who's a commentator, out of nowhere comes out and he says, well, what does RG3 know anything about this? RG3, who was a former quarterback, a great rookie quarterback. Washington, yeah.
Went to Marshall.
He says, what would RG3 know who's a black man?
Following the game, Reese herself made statements addressing the incident, while prominent sports commentator Jamela Hill entered the conversation with a bold prediction. Hill publicly declared her belief that Angel Reese possessed the potential to become the Women's League's equivalent of Michael Jordan, positioning her ahead of Clark as the defining athlete of the generation. Hill's comments suggested Reese could be viewed as the organization's ultimate icon, drawing direct parallels to basketball's most legendary figure. Former NFL quarterback Robert Griffin III weighed in on the growing controversy, praising Clark as a transformative superstar whose impact extended far beyond typical athletic achievements. His comments defending Clark's significance prompted an unexpected response from ESPN analyst Ryan Clark, who questioned Griffin's credibility on the matter.
He says, what would RG3 know, who's a black man, by the way? He says, what would RG3 know about this? He's married to a white woman. And they're like, wait, what did you say? Ryan Clark says RG3 is married to a white woman. What would he know about all this stuff that's taking place?
He actually said those words.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to you, I haven't heard that.
So, okay, Rob,
what a crappy thing to say.
Can you find this clip where Ryan Clark says, how would he know he's married to a white girl? Is that the clip, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, play this clip. Watch this, Vinny.
Clark made the controversial statement that Griffin, being married to a white woman, couldn't properly understand or speak on the experiences of black women in sports. Clark specifically stated that conversations about what black female athletes endure wouldn't be happening in Griffin's household, implying his perspective was compromised by his interracial marriage. The comment sparked immediate backlash, though Clark later issued an apology for the remarks. The controversy reached another level when video footage emerged appearing to show Brittany Griner making derogatory comments during a game against the Indiana Fever. Lip readers analyzing the footage claimed Griner could be heard using a racial slur combined with profanity directed at Clark, with the phrase appearing to reference Clark's race.
Just Vinny.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation.
The video circulated widely across social platforms, generating massive discussion and outrage. Additional controversy arose from alleged statements attributed to Griner regarding the changing atmosphere at women's basketball games. According to reports, Griner expressed frustration about increased crowd attendance and noise levels at contests, particularly when Clark played. The alleged quotes painted a picture of Griner complaining about the disruption caused by thousands of spectators filling arenas specifically to watch games. The statements characterized previous seasons as quieter, more relaxed affairs where players could allegedly even work on laptops during games due to minimal fan presence.
Sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard
Rob,
foul.
is this the one
that's
where he says
competitiveness? That's rivalry.
RG3
that's not
is
hate.
married to a
and
white?
So now, though, when RG3
Yes,
jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not
Further alleged remarks suggested Griner criticized the pressure created by passionate fans who actually paid attention to performances, describing vocal spectators as creating an uncomfortable environment. One particularly controversial alleged quote mentioned seeing a father and daughter in the crowd cheering enthusiastically, with Griner supposedly suggesting their excitement was either about poor play or contained racist undertones. These incidents highlighted the dramatic shift in women's professional basketball viewership and attendance. Clark's arrival as a rookie had generated unprecedented interest, filling arenas that previously played to sparse crowds. Games featuring the Indiana Fever suddenly drew massive television ratings and sold-out venues, representing a complete transformation from prior seasons when empty seats were standard.
About RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom.
But
now, when you look at it, I think Angel Wilson is the face of the league. Angel Wilson.
Who's the face of the league?
He said Angel Reese.
Who did he say is the face of the league?
Asia Wilson.
Okay, you can pause that.
Yeah.
RG3
Critics pointed to these controversies as evidence of deeper issues within the organization. Commentary suggested that instead of embracing the sudden influx of attention and revenue, certain established players displayed resentment toward the athlete bringing new fans to the sport. The contrast between Clark's ability to draw crowds and the league's previous struggles with viewership became a central talking point. The Angel Reese comparison to Michael Jordan particularly drew skepticism when statistics were examined.
Yeah, you can pause that.
Yeah.
RG3 responds back. RG3 responds back and says, what is that all about? To Ryan Clark's credit, he apologizes about this. Then Brittany Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittany Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittany Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Data revealed Reese shot just 22.7% from the field in certain games, one of the lowest percentages recorded. More specifically, even on shots taken within 5 feet of the basket, her shooting percentage of 43.8% was considered remarkably poor for a player of her height and position. These numbers stood in stark contrast to Jordan's legendary efficiency and scoring ability, making the comparison seem extremely premature at best. Historical context emerged comparing Clark to Diana Taurasi, widely considered among the greatest players in women's basketball history.
That pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittany Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittany Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittany. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching.
Taurasi had similarly dominated in college before entering the professional ranks, displaying three-point shooting prowess and playmaking abilities comparable to Clark's skill set. However, Taurasi never generated the same level of mainstream attention or cultural conversation despite her accomplishments. Some attributed this difference to timing, suggesting the current cultural moment with increased focus on women's sports created unique opportunities for Clark's rise. The debate extended to broader questions about the league's viability and business model. For years, the organization had operated at significant financial losses, subsidized by its male counterpart. Clark's arrival represented the first time substantial public interest threatened to change that dynamic, yet internal resistance from some players and commentators seemed to undermine this progress. Critics argued that professionalism and gratitude should have been the response to suddenly filled arenas and increased salaries made possible by new viewership. Instead, accusations of privilege and resentment toward the athlete driving this change dominated headlines. How male athletes in similar situations typically welcome teammates who elevated their league's profile and earning potential. The RG3 controversy particularly highlighted racial tensions within these debates. The suggestion that a black man married to a white woman couldn't legitimately discuss issues facing black female athletes struck many as absurd overreach. Griffin himself responded to Clark's comments with confusion and disappointment, though the apology that followed attempted to close that chapter. Throughout all these incidents, questions persisted about Clark's own response to the hostility. Some noted that early in her career, Clark had made statements acknowledging her privilege as a white player and expressing desire to elevate black players in the league. Critics suggested this attempt at solidarity hadn't been reciprocated, with Clark instead facing amplified scrutiny and aggressive play that bordered on dangerous. The prisoner exchange that brought Griner home from Russian detention in exchange for a convicted arms trafficker added another dimension to public discussion of her alleged comments. Many felt that someone who received such extraordinary government intervention on her behalf should show more appreciation for the opportunities and attention coming to her sport, rather than complaining about fans actually watching games. When Clark suffered an injury requiring a 2-week absence, it was predicted that viewership numbers would reveal just how dependent the league's newfound popularity was on her presence. This became a crucial test of whether other players could maintain fan interest without the sport's biggest draw active on the court. The entire sequence of events raised uncomfortable questions about how success is received in professional sports when it disrupts existing power dynamics. Clark's arrival challenged assumptions about who should be the face of the organization and whose style of play deserved celebration. Her ability to fill arenas threatened to expose just how unpopular the product had been previously, potentially bruising egos of established players who couldn't generate similar interest. Comparisons to male sports were inevitable. Would NBA players complain about arenas being too full or fans being too engaged? Would they resent a rookie who suddenly made their league relevant to mainstream audiences and increased everyone's earning potential? The obvious answer highlighted the peculiarity of the resistance Clark faced. Statistical analysis continued to undermine arguments, positioning Reese as comparable to all-time greats. Beyond the shooting percentages, measures of overall efficiency and impact showed significant gaps between Reese's performance and that of legitimate superstar players. The rush to anoint her as a transformational figure appeared driven more by narrative preference than objective evaluation of her game. The role of media commentary in amplifying these controversies couldn't be ignored. By elevating questionable comparisons and defending aggressive behavior toward Clark, certain voices in sports journalism were accused of prioritizing ideological commitments over honest analysis. Ultimately, the entire situation represented a crucial moment for women's professional basketball. After decades of struggling for attention and financial stability,